Hello guys and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be taking a look at a keyboard that shares a lot of similarities with the Monsgeek M1, and that is the Chosfox CF81 mechanical keyboard kit that was sent over to me by Kinetic Labs themselves for my honest review. When it comes to this keyboard, it does start at a little bit of a higher price than the Monsgeek M1 at $134.99. And basically what we're going to be doing today is trying to find out whether or not paying more actually gets you more compared to the Monsgeek M1. Inside the box you get the keyboard itself, some stabilizers, a braided USB cable that is coiled, some switching keycaps puller, and some gaskets. Now there are two types of gaskets for this build. You have the smaller ones and the bigger one. Unfortunately, you have to use both the small and big, as they do not include enough gaskets if you wanted to use the big ones on both the top and bottom part of the plate, which I think is a missed opportunity. The stabilizers themselves aren't too bad. They're not necessarily the greatest stabilizers I've ever used, but they definitely get the job done. But if you do have the money for it, maybe try going third party and getting some better ones for yourself would obviously make the build process a lot simpler. The keyboard kit includes a polycarbonate plate that does have flex cuts, the PCB which does not have flex cuts, and case, plate foam, and PE foam. So overall, the keyboard comes with a lot of the same things that the Monsgeek M1 does come with. Now the knob here, I can already tell you, is a lot better. The knob on the Monsgeek boards has some very big issues with it scratching up inside the case when you turn it, and that is not apparent in this keyboard. So that is the biggest pro for me personally, because now I can actually use the volume knob and not hear this annoying scratching sound every single time I used it. Now, with that being said, I do not like to use PE foam, so I took that out, but I'm going to be using the case and plate foam. The switches I'll be using are the Kinetic Labs Moon V2 linear switches, and the keycaps are their Seal V3 keycap set. So definitely more of a monochrome look we're going for today. And I will say the back of this keyboard does look a lot better than the Monsgeek board. Now the side profile is nothing to be wowed about, but they do also have some indentations, so you can grab it easier and transport it just like the Monsgeek M1 did. Now it does not have any accent colors like the Monsgeek M1, so that could be a pro or a con depending on who you're asking. The finish on this keyboard, I will say, is slightly smoother and nicer feeling to the touch than the Monsgeek M1. The build process is quite simple, just like every other keyboard. There are 6 screws on the back. You basically just put in the switches and the stabilizers after you've lubed them, and this is a south-facing hot swap PCB, so you won't have any cherry profile interference, which is nice. I installed the case foam and the plate foam, and the biggest issue I had when building this keyboard is the fact that the polycarbonate plate has flex cuts. I absolutely despise flex cuts in anything, and the reason for that is because it makes the build process a lot harder, as the plate bends already because it is a polycarbonate plate. But now the internal switches, I guess like your ASDF row or your QWERTY row, that row will bend in, and it just makes it a lot more of a hassle to install the switches, as you're constantly having to rebend the plate back to being even, so you don't have a warped typing experience. But once you're done with that, the sound profile out of this board is quite nice, I would say so myself, and I really like how the Moon V2s sound in this board. Here's a quick sound test so you guys can hear how they sound. So yeah, just like the Monsgeek M1 keyboard, this does have a little bit of a metal tinge to it in the sound profile. Now the way you remove that is the same way you remove it in the Monsgeek M1, and that is by performing the force break mod. So that is something I definitely recommend you guys doing if you don't like the sound of that metal ting in the background whenever you type. When it comes to being compared to the Monsgeek M1, I do think that little bit of extra money that you pay for does go a longer way, as you get a better build quality, a nicer bottom, better gaskets, and a better knob. But let me know what you guys think about this keyboard kit in the comments down below, and if you're interested in it, I'll be leaving a link to it in the description below as well. Other than that, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.